There's totally another snow globe quilt top behind this one. Hi friends, Tracy here from the Sewing Channel. Welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. Seeing this quilt all stitched up makes me so proud. I never thought of myself as a quilt designer, but I had this vision. I knew I needed to put it on paper and make it and bring it all to you. For those of you that don't know, I'm a one-woman show around here. I don't have any fancy quilt programs to make designs and such. I do it all with pencil and paper and this right here. It's just the way I do things. In this pattern, I put full color pictures so that you know exactly what you're doing and when to do it. I even give you your own globe right here on this page so that you can sketch out your own vision of what's in your snow globe. I also designed 9 templates. I know, right? I thought my brain was gonna explode. And you get all that with this PDF pattern download. And you get to watch this video right here to help you make this quilt right here. I don't have a storefront. I don't even have a website. You can purchase what's in your snow globe quilt pattern through the Buy Me a Coffee app. They have a great website where you can sell digital downloads, which makes it perfect for someone like me who doesn't have a team of people behind them. If you make this quilt, send me the pictures in my email. The email's on the pattern, and I'm going to find some way, somehow, to showcase your quilt on my channel in January. Enough talking already. What is in your snow globe quilt? Before we get to cutting, we need to cut out these templates on the printout. These templates are what you're going to use to make this beautiful globe shape around this quilt. Make sure you check that square on the paper so that you know that your printer is printing your templates properly. That's important because if your templates are not the right size, this whole quilt's gonna be off. My friends who don't have a printer, your local library will print your pattern for you. It's important to note not to cut on the seam allowance line. I only put that in there to let you know that I did incorporate all seam allowances on these templates. Here are all the templates that you should have all cut out. This one right here is for the left top, right top of the bow. This one right here is universal, of course. It's just a regular triangle on all sides. So you would use the same triangle for this one. It does say on there template W and X, right and left side. And you need a red color. I wrote that on here for the bow. I tried to write as much information on these templates as I could. You can take these templates and put them on hard cardstock. That's what I suggest because they will get, you know, messed up because they are paper. First thing I'm going to do is make 4 special blocks that are in this quilt. For the tree stump, you're going to need 2 5 3/4 inch squares, one in whatever color you want your stump, and then one in the aqua. We're going to make a half square triangle. You're just going to draw a line from corner to corner and then sew a 1/4 inch on each side. The important thing I want you to note here is your 1/4 inch. Whatever you use, make sure that you use the same amount of seam allowance on every single block. Otherwise, it just won't look perfect as you can get it anyways. Next, you'll just take and cut on the line, open them up, and press them. Once you press this, you will have 2 blocks for that stump area, or trunk. I keep calling it a stump, it's a trunk, isn't it? Oh my word, okay. The next 2 blocks are the special template blocks on your printout. Once you cut out the colors you need, make sure that you place them in the right orientation when you go to sew them because you may get mixed up. Because these look kind of funny within the pattern. So sometimes I'll want to turn it the opposite way, but just make sure that, you know, you have it right. You're going to sew 2 blocks that look like this. There'll be mirror images of each other. When I created these templates up for you all, I put in different angles within the template so that it would be easier for you to connect the 2 and 3 pieces together. The first thing you're going to do is connect the aqua and the dark background piece together. Place it just like it's going to be seen within the quilt. Then you'll just put right sides together. The angle cut here is right here on the tip. What you'll do is just line up that line with the edge of this template here. Once you get that set, pop some pins. Once you have that pinned, you're going to sew a true 1/4 inch or a scant 1/4 inch. It's important to note too that I also did put an angle here so that the two pieces at the end here could also be at an angle together. I'm going to open that up and then finger press open. Before we sew this on, this one needs to be pressed first. Pressing this makes for nice, neat work when we go to connect this one. Once that is all nice and neatly pressed, then you can add the big triangle on. Pop some pins. Open that up, and then on this one I do press it to the pink or red, whatever color you're using. Finger press and then hot press. You don't want to vigorously iron these or press real hard. I wouldn't even add any water on these because you just really don't want to distort them. There's a special way that we need to trim this block up right here. You're going to take and fold this in half and make a memory crease right there. Open it up, fold it the opposite way, line it up best that you can, and make another memory crease right there. You're trying to find the center. You should have a crisscross mark somewhere in the center here where it meets up with the pink and the black right here. And I'm just going to mark it there. I know you can't see it on the black, but that's my center right there. Turn your block so that your angle is this way, because that is the angle that is on my ruler. The first thing you're going to do is find your 5, because we need to trim this down to 5 inches square. There's my 5, 5, and across. So this is the size block that I need here. Since this is a 5-inch block that we're trimming to, I'm going to find the middle of that 5-inch block here on my ruler, which is 2.5 inches down and 2.5 inches in. So you want to find your 2.5 down and 2.5 in from that 5, which puts us right there. 1, 2.5, 1, 2.5. That is the center of our block. That mark that we made on this block right here, we need to line that up with this mark right here. So there's my center mark right there that I made. And then you're going to find that 2.5. And you're going to line the mark that you made on your fabric up with the 2.5 that's on this ruler. You're also trying to line up the diagonal on your ruler with the diagonal seam on your fabric. And find the 2.5 right in the center there. And then you may need to shimmy this either way, that way or that way, depending on how well you sewed it. You're going to match up the ends here. Make sure that that's in the center though, that 2.5. Come over here, make sure it's on the seam, there on the seam. And even right here, where it lines up on the 5 corner, you want to make sure that seam lands right inside of that corner. So I may need to shift this like that. Once you have everything straight, your corner seam is there, corner seam, corner seam. You're lined up in the center. Then you're going to trim it. I gave you quite a bit of waste here, so that way, in case your seam didn't line up, just so you had enough room to shimmy this ruler around. Flip this, and then you know that this side is already square, so you're just going to square that up with the 5. Line everything up again. You can even check your 2.5 is in the center there, and then trim. And there is your left and your right special template block. We're all done with these 4 blocks, so just set these aside until we need them. So we're going to build this quilt within sections so that it makes it much easier. I know it helps me, so I'm hoping it helps you. For this section, we're working on the base. I'm going to show you how to use the letters on the template so that they make sense to you so you know what the heck is going on. It was really helpful for me as I was making the first quilt. The funny thing is, these templates are really all the same. It's just a matter of turning the orientation to give it that different look or change the color on the opposite side. That's why you have two sets of templates, mirror images of each other. Let's take template Y, for example. In the picture that's on the printout, there are letters to tell you which way that orientation goes for that color. This one in this orientation is letter C. Black for the large template Y and gold for the small template Y. You can see here, they go together. When you look at the template, you totally know that it is in C orientation because here's the letter C, here's the letter C, and there's a line underneath each of those letters. So no matter which way you turn it, if I was to turn it, say, this way, now that's a totally different orientation, same templates. Now this one right here, if you look at it, the line is underneath the D over here and over here. So this is D orientation of template Y, large and small template Y. But it's in the color combo, black and gold on those sides. And you can see here on the templates, I wrote, you're going to need 3 aqua, 4 background, and 2 gold base in this particular template, in that way, because remember they're mirror images, so if you were to use the other template, it wouldn't work for this particular block, unless you flipped it over, of course. But another example is, I'm using the same template again. If I use this orientation like this, and I look at the letters, H has the line under it, because I'm looking at it. So whichever way you're looking at it, that line underneath it, that's how you should be looking at the letter. So this is H orientation of this template. See how easy that is? Although it seems easy now, it was not very easy when I was coming up with this whole template and pattern for this quilt. I was actually pulling my hair out. I actually thought, I'm not going to do this because it was so hard. My brain was like ready to explode at some points. But I finally got it. And when I did, I was like, oh, I got it. So, and now you get the benefit of me getting it. It's so funny. But anyways, that's how you're going to lay these out. As far as if you forget which orientation, if you're looking at the printout, to where it tells you the letters, you know that that's the color of the large or the color of the small and which orientation it goes in. First step in sewing each section is to put these two pieces together that go together and sew them together. So we'll just grab it off our design wall. You are going to be so impressed with yourself when you sew everything together and you see that globe come into a perfect circle. I wish the camera was on when I first did it. I was jumping for joy. So there's the orientation right there that we need. And all I'm going to do is just take these two pieces and put right sides together. And again, on this template, I made sure that there was an angle there for you and an angle down here to be able to put flush together. Once you get those angles set here and on this side, then you're going to pop some pins in. Open it up and press it open. I pressed all of my template blocks open. Once you finger press it open, go ahead and give it a hot press. Just like our other special template block, we need to trim this a special way so that we get it perfect or near perfect. What I want you to do is look at it in this orientation when you go to trim it. Every template block, once it's sewn, will always head toward the center of one of the sides. So put that side to the right. I want you to lift this up and I want you to even it as best as you can. And then I want you to finger crease this. Paying particular attention to this side part. Really press that in so you can see that. When you open it up, you will see where you finger pressed it and to where that seam allowance crisscrosses in color together. That is where I want you to make your mark. So that is the center from top to bottom on this side, is right there. That's where those two colors meet up. Right there. Now what I want you to do is be mindful of your 5-inch mark on your ruler. If I go 1, 2.5, and I go up a 1/4 inch. Now there's no 1/4 inch mark, like a slash like that, on this area where I really need it to be, but they do give me some dash marks, and right there is a 1/4 inch from the edge of this ruler. So, I mean, that's the best I can do with this ruler. Now, your ruler may have different lines and such. What you need to be mindful of is go to the center of the side. Remember 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So half of that is 2.5, which puts us here at this dash line, and a 1/4 inch on my ruler is 3 dashes up. That dash right there needs to match up with the mark that I made on this block right there. So 1, 2.5, and 3 mark. So that dash mark lines up right there. Once I get that lined up, then it's time to come over here and look at this. You want that seam to be running right in between these 1/8 inch marks. You want it to be coming right in the center. So this block ends here at this 5-inch mark right here. You want that seam to be going right in the center of that tiny square right here, which represents 1/8 of an inch. So you want it to be lined up in there, which may not look perfect at the very edge here, the very corner of the 5-inch block, but you're looking right here that it's going right in between that 1/8. Check over here again, make sure that your 1/4 inch mark is lined up. Shimmy this if you have to. Once you have it, go ahead and cut. Flip it. Now you know this is even over here. Even though you know it's even, you're still going to take your mark and line it up on that mark that you made on your fabric. So I'm looking at the dash. Oh, the light's on my... Sorry about that light. I'll try to shield it. You're still going to line up that dash mark where it's a 1/4 inch up on your fabric mark that you made. That just double checks to make sure that everything is good. And down here, make sure that that seam is running right in between those 1/8 marks right there. That it's not up here or down here, that seam is running right in the center of that 1/8 right there. Once you have it, then you're going to slice. And you can see here I did give you some extra waste just in case you needed to shimmy. It's important to note that you trim all of your blocks just like we trimmed this one. All of those special template blocks. Because if you don't, things could end up weird. So it's important to note. So after your blocks are all trimmed, then you're going to go ahead and put these two together, these two, and then you're going to match them up with the next level here. And you can see there how those match up perfect. Yours will totally match up too. Trust me, if you do everything I'm telling you, you'll be able to do it. Let me get these two sewn and these two sewn real quick. Then I'll turn the camera back on and show you how to add this to that. Here are these two sets right here. So we want to make sure that this is connected perfectly. I'm not worried about that seam right there because we used fabric that camouflages all that. But these two are very much contrasting, so we want to make sure this is perfect. Take this and flip this like so. So this is the seam area right here. Now if you cut everything perfectly, then it should line up like so smooth. If I line all those up just the way I cut them, if you look at it, it looks like it's crossways, like it's not going to line up good, but it will. If I hold right here and show you where that 1/4 inch is going to be, you can totally see when I flip that, that's going to be nice and even right there. So that is perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and pin that and come up the end there. So let me sew that real quick so I can show you. Now I haven't looked at this yet, but let's take a look together. Hopefully I'm in camera view. Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, are you kidding me? On a regular day with like stars and stuff, this stuff doesn't line up, but it does for this. So I'm happy about it though. So all you're gonna do is just flip it over then and press this seam open. Now I want you to notice here, okay, so I pressed open, it's all pressed open, nice, nice. I want you to notice, I'm not sure if you can see, but we're totally not on point here, but we are here. Isn't that wonderful? All you're gonna do for this one is flip this over. It's pretty much the same concept. There's a few more seams coming together, but it's okay. If I hold the seam allowance like that, about a 1/4 inch, lift this up. Hopefully you can see that. That is gonna hit that pretty dead on, and that's perfect. So let me sew that on and I'll show you what that looks like. Boom, there you go. There you have it. Every time, friends, you will get it. Trust me, just make sure that they're all even and you'll be good to go. Because we are human, you could have sewn a little off there and, you know, because you didn't line them up perfectly, just unpick it and resew it and just readjust the fabric and resew it, and you will be so much happier and so pleased with the outcome. So I am going to get this row finished up here, then I'm going to sew this big piece to this row right here, and then I'm going to sew those 2 sides on, and I'll be right back. Congratulations if you just finished the first section. Your quilting superpower has just been unlocked. So you can see here I have all of the pieces up that don't need to be turned into half square triangles for the bow. This is the entire bow fabric up there, but we're only working on that one bow section at the top. But I wanted to put the rest in here so that you could kind of get a feel for what was going on. Take a look at your printout. In that picture you can see what I've paired together and what needs to be sewn into a half square triangle. So I already drew the line on these, so now all I have to do is sew a 1/4 inch on both sides. Flip them all around. Next, I'm going to cut down the line that I made, and then I'm going to press all of the seams open on my half square triangles. The next step is to put it all up on the design board to make sure that it makes sense. You want to make sure that you have your diagram handy so you know what goes where. So you can see here the difference in the backwards fabric on the wrong side of the fabric as opposed to the right side. It's really easy to mess up these triangles. You really do want to take a good look before you commit and sew them together. Since I have all of the other bow pieces together, we're going to go ahead and put those up. Stand back, take a look, make sure that all the pieces are correct. What do you think? That totally looks like a bow to me. I just put these up here just to show you since I had them done already, but we're not going to sew these ones just yet. So I'm going to take these off. So we're just going to set the rest of those bow pieces aside for now. I will first sew these three, then these three, then these three, then I will connect those 3 rows together. Then I'll do the same thing with this set over here. Then I'll go through and sew those 3 together, and then I will connect this section to this strip, this one over here, and then I will connect the ends both on. And then that section will be done. So let me go do that and then we'll see what it looks like. So here is that top section all sewn together. When I stopped the film to look in the camera and see how that looked, I loved how this looked like a softer pink of this. It doesn't even look like reverse fabric. I hope you can see how this all is coming together now. Once these 2 sections are done, now it's time to work on that middle section, the globe part. Now that's going to be just a tad trickier, but no big deal because we do have the tree in there, but we do have a lot of other things too. So I saved that one for last. That is the most creative one. Now if you want to take the tree and take it out and put like a snowman or some other winter scene or even a panel, I had thought would be cute too. I mean, you could do endless things here inside this globe. I really do want you to think outside of the, no, not box, think outside of the globe. Now it's time to build that main portion of our globe. You'll make 3 HSTs that are in the black and the aqua. Place your 4 5-inch background squares on and also add in the rest of your aqua squares. There should be about 20 of them left. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and cut out all of your special template pieces for around the globe. You can see here there's 4 quadrants, the top left, top right, bottom left, and bottom right. And that is the orientation that those need to be in. It's important to note too that you need to trim this block just like you did with the aqua and gold base template pieces that we trimmed earlier in this tutorial. Now it's time to make some fun pinwheels for this darling quilt. We need 56 half square triangles that measure about 3 inches square. You'll need 28 3.5 inch squared pieces of the aqua fabric, and then you'll need 28 at 3.5 inches squares of any other contrasting fabric that you would like to put in these pinwheels. I kind of scattered my colors a little bit on this particular quilt. I just wanted it to look random. Now you'll make these just like any other HSTs that we've made for this particular quilt project. You'll lay right sides together of the contrasting colors, but there's always going to be one aqua within that pair. That's one kind of a side note to remember. You're going to draw your line corner to corner, and then you're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance on both sides of that line. When that's done, go ahead and cut up the center, open up those seams, give it a quick finger press, and then take it over to the ironing station and give it a good hot press. After they've been pressed open, then go ahead and trim it down to 3 inches square. Take 4 of those HSTs and assemble them in a pinwheel construction and then sew all 4 of those together, making one block. Now you need to trim this one block down to 5 inches. To keep this block straight, you just need to find the middle of the ruler right there, line it up with the middle of your pinwheel, and then go ahead and cut around. You'll need 14 5-inch pinwheel blocks. Now it's time to make 6 HSTs. Use your darkest green and your aqua. Trim down to 5 inches square. Let's make some 1/4 square triangles. You're going to take your dark and your medium fabric, and you're going to just slice these right in half, corner to corner. Now you wouldn't think it, but it's true. The orientation of these little buggers, they matter. Make sure that your 1/4 square triangles are connecting together as you see me connecting them here on the screen. Once your 1/4 square triangles are all connected and everything is pressed nicely open, you're then going to take that 4 1/4 inch square aqua, slice it corner to corner, and set one aside. You're not going to need it. Do the same with the 5 3/4 inch dark background, slice it corner to corner, and set the other one aside. And then cut all of the aquas that you're going to connect to your quarter square triangles. You're just going to slice those corner to corner as well. Go ahead and sew these up, give them a good hot press, and then trim them to 5 inches square. Take the 2 quarter square triangles in the aqua and the dark green, and then grab the half square triangle in the background and connect all 3 pieces together. Connect the 2 small ones together first. Once that block is connected, go ahead and press everything real good and trim it to 5 inches square. The best way to trim these particular blocks is to find that center where they all meet up in the middle. Find the center on your ruler, and then you're going to simply just trim everything perfectly all the way around. If you haven't noticed yet, everything in this project seems to be about 5 inches square. Check out your screen right now. This is what you should have so far. Take your medium and your light 4 1/4 inch squares, slice them corner to corner, and make quarter square triangles. It's very important to note that these are positioned properly in color order. If the quarter square triangles are pointing down, like in the video right now, your medium fabric should be on the left and your light fabric should be on the right. Let me show you how I keep track of things when I'm at the sewing machine. When it comes to these little buggers right here, these quarter square triangles, I never pair these up right sides together and then go to the sewing machine because I'm definitely going to mess it up somehow, some way. What I do is lay them right next to each other in the way that they're pointing going in my sewing machine. I pair them up as I sew them. I know it takes a little bit longer, but it's even longer if I have to unpick 20 blocks, right? Now take those half square triangles now that you just sewed and match them up with a half square triangle of the dark fabric. Go ahead and slice those right in half, corner to corner. Sew that dark green half square triangle onto the other set, just like you see me pairing up here. Give it a good hot press. And then next, go ahead and trim them to, you guessed it, 5 inches square. Everything is now all prepped and ready for that tree inside of our globe. Now put all of the sections up on your design wall and add in all of the pieces that go inside of your globe. Now mine kept falling down, so I'm missing some. They're on my floor in front of the globe, but no worries, we're going to put it all together. My tip for you here, whenever you have a lot of pieces like this quilt inside of the globe, try taking chunks of the project and sew them together. You can see here in the photo the different areas of the inside of this globe that I put together first. And then after that, then I'll take those top 3 pieces, sew those together, and then the middle, and then the bottom. It just makes it a lot easier to deal with smaller pieces than long pieces. Let's reveal the other snow globe quilt top behind this one. Isn't it cute? I love it. It's amazing what different color fabrics do in a quilt pattern. Remember that when you go to choose your fabrics for what's in your snow globe. More videos coming soon on these 2 quilt tops and how I'm going to free motion quilt them. That is going to be some major fun. I hope you get the pattern and make this quilt, and I hope you email me pictures too. Until next time on the Sewing Channel, take care.